So we'll pick up the coalition half of the 15-20 term at Vauchamps. Looking west down the road, from the coalition perspective, you can see we have a little bit of work to do to shore up our position. There's still this large gap here that the Guard is attempting to exploit. We're not in too bad a shape. Got that nice battery of guns here that we can maybe dislodge the Guard here. And we've got some Prussian infantry. Most of our cavalry is blown up here, although we have some on the south side. Basically the south side is a real strength for us. We've got the Prussian, almost a full Prussian brigade here, the 10th, 5 battalions plus some cavalry against a very weak and disintegrating French right. So I think we're going to try to exploit that this turn. Hold here in the center and try to sweep this direction on the right. Take a quick tour of the movement here for the coalition. See, the 22nd Division is still in squares. Got to protect against that cavalry there. A couple of units move forward to try to put some fire on that French cavalry. You see Blucher there with the Landwehr Lancers. That little clutch of disordered infantry pulled back away from the French. But you can see right there, 2 battalions of the 12th are going to crash into the Guard, try to get them bottled up and in some serious duress. Largely the center is sticking where they are, but one Russian battalion looped around from their position right here to engage Napoleon, just to put some fire on the guy and see if they can get lucky. The Prussian 10th Brigade, as promised, moved forward, sweeping in on the French right. 2 weak skirmish battalions fronting 1 line infantry battalion there. So we're going to move into our defensive fire phase, see if the French can hold them off here. We'll start here on the south end. Again, we have the skirmishers, as well as Napoleon can maybe try to blast those Russian musketeers. Two pretty low shots for the skirmishers, so no casualties there. Now we're going to blast those guns against a very low shot. So even with canister, we manage a single casualty on the Russians, which is better than nothing, but did not force them into a morale check is what we were hoping for. Shifting a little further up the line, we have probably a little ineffectual firefight here between the skirmishers. Then we have the Guard trying to hold off the Russian infantry here. Wow, that is a great shot. So the Guard fired on the Russian infantry, rolled a nice 66, and that is going to be an arm wound on this general, so he will be done for the day. Now, unfortunately, the morale dice were pretty high, and the Russians have pretty good morale overall, so they will stand their ground minus their general. I'm going to fire again here. A little lower hit, not quite enough to cause a casualty. Now we have another shot here. Again, very low, so no casualties. So that's going to take care of our defensive fire. let's just move right into our offensive fire. So starting off north here, we've got some Russian infantry and skirmishers. We can fire on that French cavalry. Good high number, so we're going to get a casualty there. But a good morale roll as well. So these poor guys are down to their last increment. Probably wish they had withdrawn last turn. Get ourselves back to the center. We can have some converging fire here on the guards from that Prussian unit and that Russian unit. And that's good enough for a casualty, but no morale check. Have another fire here, Russian against the guard. I think that's going to give us a casualty. Yeah, that should be one casualty on the guard. Again, no morale check. We need morale checks. Morale is where all the damage is done in this game system. And again, we have, that is reserve against a column. So that will be another casualty. So it's a second casualty. We do have a morale check, but guard being guard, anything other than a disastrous rule, we're not going to pass. Second increment loss. Now we're going to shoot at the guns here with Napoleon, just hoping for a 65. No luck. So maybe they'll try to melee that next. I have one more shot right here. I think I forgot to shoot this guy here, so I'm just going to remedy that mistake. So that is a casualty there on the Russians, which will materially affect their return fire here. But they have some good return fire as well. Apparently they were stoked by that particular shot. So they manage a casualty, but no morale checks. Here's another position I overlooked. The camera was over it. We have this guard here facing the battery and that infantry, so we're going to just fire them. No effect, but now we're going to go ahead and fire back with our artillery and that bit of infantry. So that'll be the 24 plus the line, infantry in line, plus canister against the general order. And wouldn't you know it, we have a snake eyes. So perfect time to get a big shot on a French guard unit, and we fail. Now we'll finish up down here in the south. We have 2 shots here and then 1 there on those skirmishers. So we'll miss here, but a hit there. Second increment loss, morale check, good morale dice, everybody stays. Now we're going to move into our melee phase for the coalition here. I'm going to start north of the road here. This is the Marshal Blucher with some Landwehr cavalry. I can get him out of there. Going against some French cavalry. Now, the French have a 2 movement factor advantage, so they are just going to get the heck out of there. retreat out of harm's way. And rather than initiate another melee, we're just going to leave the marshal right there. So that's the advantage of those small light cavalry. Or one advantage anyway. Now we're going to see if we can hunt Napoleon here. Have that Russian infantry battalion going to assault those two guns. There's no way they're going to fail because Napoleon has outstanding morale advantages. An A meaning basically perfect, right? But what we want to do is see if we can get an attack in to disrupt those guns and maybe get Napoleon. So I think that we have 2 guns there with 4 melee factors. We have 3/5 of 10 here. So it's going to be 1.5 to 1. I think Napoleon has a 12. Napoleon has a 12. So it's going to be really hard. Ah, we got a 22. That's bad. So that's an attacker disorder once the leadership modifier is in place. So the Russians thought they could run down those guns and they failed. Superior leadership. So we'll just retreat them. I think we have to retreat through here. Yeah, I'm going to retreat through there. So I have to morale check those Prussians. And that was a poor morale result, so they're going to retreat as well. Far worse outcome than we had hoped there. Our last 2 attacks are going to be on these skirmishers. The skirmishers are hopelessly outnumbered. They're in skirmish, which means they're going to have very poor melee. So we're just going to retreat the first one here. That means the Prussians can move forward and get a free attack on the 105th there. Pre-melee morale checks are pretty good. I think, yeah, Prussians, this 2nd West Prussian, pretty good unit. So they're going to drive home their attack. 105th has 5 melee factors against 5/6 of 14. So 2 to 1 odds will be carried with a very high number, a defender disorder. So the French will be thrown back. One, two, three. And we'll move the Prussians forward to occupy that hex. That leaves our last attack here, and we are going to retreat those skirmishers. So other than rallies, that'll just about do it for the coalition half of this turn. So we'll just try to rally these 3 units here. So the Prussian failed right here, but the Russians do pass. And this unit passes as well. Finally, we have this large group of Prussian infantry right there all disordered. Two fail and one passes. So we'll move those guys and then take stock of our situation. It's the end of the coalition half of the turn. See, we're able to shore up our center position here. Push back pretty hard on the left, more or less disintegrating the French right. Made a run at Napoleon that failed, but otherwise maintained our position in pretty good order.